is elastic, so can fade from sight. Are we doing this now? It's like stupid o'clock in the morning. Really? We're doing this now? All right, fine. But I've not had time to get ready, so I'm gonna look dreadful. Be that on you. Good morning from Isolation Station 24601. My name is Tom Campbell, and this is your wrestling news. A top WWE superstar has teased retirement, or have they? WWE are set to crown an interim champion, and we have an update on an NXT star getting called up to WWE Raw. We'll get to that in a little bit. So we are all still recovering from the weird, strange trip that was WrestleMania 36. Boneyard matches and Firefly Funhouse matches were two of the highlights. Let's talk about the latter for a little bit. Bray Wyatt taking John Cena on some sort of magical, tragical mystery tour, not just through his life, but through his own mind, at the end of which John Cena, we literally cannot see because he disappears. What now? A few things have popped up online that suggests that maybe it might be the end for John Cena. Now, I'd like you to take this story with a pinch of salt. Actually, better yet, if you contact the people at Maldron Salts, they're a major salt manufacturer, and if you ask them to set up like a monthly subscription so you get salt sent to your door, I don't know if they do that, they might if you ask them nicely, and every time the salt comes through your door, if you could pinch every single grain of it, maybe pinch the bag as well for good measure, because John Cena is well suited and well booted for social media tomfoolery. So read into this what you will. John Cena put out a tweet last night saying, "All things end. When it's time to leave, leave them guessing." Does this mean that is the end of John Cena when it comes to WWE? We know for a while, like away from all the social media silliness, it's been a factoid for a while that John Cena has been stepping away more and more and more from WWE, just kind of making the odd appearance, weirdly becoming the one thing that he always rallied against when he was working full time, which is people who just turn up at big shows. Hoo, funny how that happened, didn't it, John? Your biggest enemy is yourself. Oh, you did that on Sunday, that's fine. So we're seeing less and less of him as he's ending up doing more and more stuff away from WWE. So if there is a way for John Cena to go, I mean, there's worse ways to go. It's certainly a compelling way to go after basically a This Is Your Life John Cena type moment. If This Is Your Life was hosted by a presenter high on some kind of drug, that would be This Is Your Life that we got on the weekend. So could very well be the end of it. I have quite enjoyed over the years some of like John Cena's social media silliness. I don't know whether you've been to his Instagram lately, but his Instagram, last time I checked, was all pictures of Bray Wyatt now. Just all pictures of Bray Wyatt. And very little else. So John Cena is known for a little bit of silliness online, but if he was to go, if this was actually the end of John Cena, then it's a pretty cool way to go. It's a pretty cool way to go. William Regal appeared on The Bump yesterday to address some situations within NXT. Obviously, the pandemic has caused all manner of problems. What with the whole nobody went to WrestleMania 36 thing. But there's a few other issues that need to be addressed, and William Regal addressed those by the looks of it from his stately home, from the jungle department in his stately home. Sat next to a big tree and a clock. It's an incredibly British sight. I'm a big fan of this. William Regal addressed some of the championship issues currently in NXT. Kind of breezed over the NXT Tag Team Championship issue. We've talked about this on the news podcast and on the YouTube channel as well. Pete Dunne is currently in the UK, so he's not able to defend the NXT Tag Team titles along with Matt Riddle. Which is a shame because they were just starting a thing with Bivens Enterprises that now we don't know when that will be resolved. William Regal regarding that has said, look, we're looking into that, basically. But he did address the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. That was the belt that was won by Jordan Devlin at Worlds Collide. Devlin, Ireland boy, first Irish Cruiserweight champion in history. Pretty sure that is the case. If I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll tell me. It was addressed that Jordan Devlin is currently back home in Ireland, so he's unable to appear on NXT. So William Regal has announced that there will be a tournament held to crown an interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion. So we're going to get some tournament action on NXT over the next couple of weeks, and this kind of plugs several holes in the sense that it puts a championship back on television for people to compete against, and it fills several weeks of TV as well. You can quite happily, same as AEW have done with their TNT tournament. I'm sure they didn't want it that way, but be that as it may, like you can film like an entire tournament, and that could be a big part of your TV for several weeks. So that is the plan, and the tournament, we understand, starts next week on NXT television to crown an interim Cruiserweight Champion. Now, they haven't said it specifically, but the chances are that once everything gets back to normal, once travel bans are lifted and the like, we may very well see, and it seems almost a certainty, we will see whoever wins the Cruiserweight Championship in the interim will face Jordan Devlin to determine an undisputed Cruiserweight Champion. In terms of who is eligible to compete for that, because they're going to be pulling from a relatively small pool of people to compete for that. But you have got people who sort of bounce between Raw and maybe, you could maybe get some Raw stars actually. Cedric Alexander is a former Cruiserweight champion and he's currently doing his thing on Monday Night Raw. You've got Humberto Carrillo on Raw as well. You've got Kushida in the mix as well. And I've been saying for weeks that Kushida needs something to really get his teeth into. And I think maybe, a good strong run in the NXT Cruiserweight tournament, heck, winning the whole thing would be pretty cool as well. You've got a few people from across the brand who you could call upon because they are using, like I say, a limited pool at the moment. So it could be a really interesting tournament, like a real sort of mix-up of Raw, SmackDown and NXT guys, and maybe a few surprises. I'm here for it. I'm all right with it. Devlin's livid about it on Twitter. He's been great fun since this was announced. But I'm excited to see Devlin back. Devlin was doing good things with the Cruiserweight Championship, and no doubt there'll be a big fight with him and whoever wins this tournament down the road. But yeah, interim Cruiserweight Champion to be crowned starting from next week. Nice. We found out last night on AEW that the OG is going back to the old school. We've seen Boneyard matches and Firefly Funhouse matches, empty building matches, and Matt Hardy has gone, okay, hold my beverage, as Matt Hardy on AEW Dynamite last night invited Chris Jericho to the Elite Deletion. This was via Vanguard 1 on Dynamite last night. So we are getting ourselves some OG out of the ring nonsense. This I am very much here for. Matt Hardy is considered the sort of godfather of these kind of outside the ring sillinesses as he was the guy, him and Jeremy Borash and a few other people were behind the final deletion in Impact Wrestling, the Ultimate Deletion when that came up to WWE, all the other stuff that Matt Hardy has done in and around there. So with the eyes of the wrestling world on things like the Boneyard match, I love the fact that AEW are going, hang on, we've got the guy that pretty much invented this kind of thing. And we have TV time to fill with unique things. Let's just do a Matt Hardy Deletion thing. Chris Jericho will be great stock for it as well. This is happening. I won't spoil any more of AEW Dynamite for you because Jack the Jobber will be along later on today on the Cultaholic YouTube channel to break down AEW Ingraded. And Ross will be here later on with all your AEW TF moments as well. All the silliness that occurred through Dynamite last night. Ross is going to be breaking it down for you a little bit later on today on the YouTube channel. Dark Side of the Ring. It's been a trip, innit? Jeez, it feels like you're eating really comforting mac and cheese while somebody smashes you over the head with a mallet. That's kind of how it feels because it's really enticing viewing, but at the same time, some heavy stuff, like the New Jack thing from last week. Obviously, we've had the two-parter with Chris Benoit. It was all about the Brawl for All last night. This is from back in 1998, if you're old enough and ugly enough like me to remember 1998 WWF first time round, when Vince decided, what if we had our wrestlers just take part in shoot fights? Like, let's see what happens when they really fight each other. It was meant to be a device to get Dr. Death Steve Williams over in 1998. And what happened was Steve Williams got knocked out early on, so that went to the wall, and they kind of quietly brushed it to one side. However, it was revealed last night, after the premiere of the Brawl for All episode of Dark Side of the Ring, that Vince McMahon, despite how bad that whole thing was, actually wanted to do it again. This is a tweet that comes from John Piramarini, who was a former writer for WWE, who said, "Incredible job with both seasons of Dark Side of the Ring. Funny story, while on creative in 2009 or 2010, Vince wanted to do another Brawl for All with all the guys competing on NXT in its original format. He had to be talked out of it." Now, if you recall NXT from its original format, it was like a game show. And it had like promo competitions and kiss-offs and you carrying barrels, I seem to remember. It was just a lot of nonsense, and I guess a Brawl for All would have been in keeping with that nonsense, but at the same time, no thank you. I don't want to watch Derek Bateman versus Titus O'Neil in a shoot fight on a Wednesday night. Or do I? Or do I? Nah, I don't. And finally, Austin Theory was certainly in the right place at the right time over the last couple of weeks. He had his first ever WrestleMania moment, teaming with Angel Garza to challenge for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And that obviously wasn't meant to be a thing that happened. He was very much in the right place, as I say, at the right time. Several sources have reached out, and according to them, Austin Theory was actually a hand-chosen tag team partner for Garza by Paul Heyman. Once they found out that Andrade wasn't going to be available, it was actually Paul Heyman who said, all right, if Andrade can't do the tag match, I want Austin Theory in the tag match. Paul Heyman's really high on Austin Theory right now, and he's been doing some amazing stuff in NXT. He's just come off a short but sweet feud with Tyler Breeze. They had themselves a cracker of a match on NXT last week, and he very much seems like he's going to be the guy that is going to rise to the top of NXT. So I was delighted and very surprised to see him turn up on Monday Night Raw. But again, very much like with a few other things going on at the moment, they're just sort of pulling from whoever's available to do what they can. And it was a great opportunity to Austin Theory. Is he staying on Monday Night Raw, though? Is this now essentially a call-up? It doesn't appear so, because as several sources have said, WWE are no longer just calling up NXT guys on a whim. They're trying to find reasons for them to come up, so they're not pulling from the talent pool of NXT too often for no real reason. They want them to come up and have something to do when they get up, rather than just having them there for a laugh, really. So chances are this is the end of the road for now for Austin Theory as part of Monday Night Raw, and it looks like he'll be moving back to do stuff for NXT for the time being. Still, amazing opportunity. I genuinely think Austin Theory is going to be the guy in NXT, and then from there he'll be the guy on Monday Night Raw again. But great opportunity. Where there's chaos, there's opportunity, or something like that. Hey, if you haven't done so already and you've got time to kill today, I think we all have a little bit of time on our hands right now, unless you're working on the front line, in which case thank you for not having time on your hands, and thank you for keeping on doing what you're doing. You are flipping amazing. But if you have, we've just posted all of our reactions to WrestleMania 36. We were together apart watching night 1 and night 2 of Mania, and you can watch how we all reacted. It's worth watching just for Ross's reaction to everything involving Tamina. It just makes my day every time. Sadly, the Tamina train did not pull into the station. Oh, but it was a memorable journey. And it's on that bombshell. I tell you to stay safe. Love you, bye.